5 years, I have not gotten ahead, financially in any way. And I'm still walking around the mall prospecting people to try to find recruits that I could then go and sell to their friends and family. And so, just like any other MLM, friends and family start to get a little, don't come at us with that anymore. And regardless, and I was at the end of my rope there. I finally was denied my promotion for a broker the second time in a row, even though, I had the numbers there. They kept kind of moving the carrot on me. And that was the last straw for me after 6 years of just barely making it. I wish I would have woken up a lot sooner, but I said, there's got to be something better out there, right? I hear about all the multimillionaires in the insurance industry. Why not me? What am I doing wrong? And for 6 years, I blamed myself. I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought it was me. And eventually, I finally was searching around on Facebook and law of attraction. Everything, happens for a reason. I was scrolling through it and I saw somebody that actually was in my same team from that previous company. And she had not even sold a sale over here with us, but she was over with Family First Life and she was only there a few months and she was making, pretty decent money from what I could tell, at least her posts, posting her issue paid reports and things like that. And so eventually I just reached out to her and, kind of, had some back and forth stuff and then, kind of forgot about it for a while. And then finally I reached back out and set up a meeting with Matt Smith and them. And we, Victoria, is my significant other, Victoria Aguilar. She's been with me since the beginning at our last company. And we decided to meet with Matt Smith and he showed us a little bit more about the company. And we decided that, what do we have to lose? I'm negative in my bank account. I never been more low in my life. It's got to get better. And sure enough, we decided to get started. My first month full time was December 2019. And we had issue paid over $31,000 our first month. And so after my first month, I knew right away, like, game over, dude. I'm planting my flag here. This is it. Bring the freaking flowers because I'm going to do this or die trying. Absolutely. So I just want you guys to know that Family First Life does definitely have the best opportunity in the industry. You could definitely go work anywhere you want. And shoot, if you want to, go try it out and come back because you probably will. When I was started over there, they start agents off on a 30% contract. And they don't even tell you, much about how it works. You're seeing all these Rolls Royces and all these cars and, mansions and stuff. You kind of get lost in the sauce like a meatball. And so you don't know what you don't know. And they have what's called the hermit kingdom mentality. And that's kind of like, other countries, Korea, things like that, where they shelter themselves from the rest of the world and they kind of portray the world, as they want it to be seen. And so when I was there, they always bashed upon, hey, you don't need to know anything about products. You don't need leads, right? You just need to worry about recruiting, right? And so I'm a really good builder. I like to build, but we're building teams of broke people, right? And so when I start off on a 30% contract, the most it goes up to is about 52%. And with one carrier, they pay you, I think, 80%. And the most of the money's made off of overrides. So if you're an associate making 30% and you're an SMD making 80%, you can see they're making 2 or almost 3 times more from an override than the agent's actually getting paid. And so I'm so happy that that's no longer our MO and our lifestyle. I mean, we used to have the mentality that every restaurant we went out to eat, we would try to prospect the manager or the waiter or whatever and try to recruit them. And even though I still believe in that today, I'm a little bit more selective because we truly can't hire anybody. But I have so much confidence in what I can do for people here that I'm not afraid to talk to anybody, right? So we're going to start doing that again. And that's a nice thing about this industry is that you're doing it first, you're proving it every week, and we can show them with our deposits now. We're not selling a dream anymore. But I would say that, for the first 6 years of my career, I was selling a dream and living a nightmare, and now I'm just living the dream.
Awesome. Okay. So, so you came in, you started writing business. Tell me some of the things that, you know, because you have a team. I don't know how big your team is, but I saw your issue paid for last month. So you obviously at some point started building.
Yep.
So when did you make your transition from insurance to agency, and how did that look? Because I spoke a little bit about it with Gage and Michaela. I want to know how you did it, and then I want to know what you're currently doing to maintain and continue to grow from the perspective of when you started to do it and what it looks like now.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. So when we first came over here, I brought over 7 licensed agents with me actually, and so I had some of my team locally, and then I had a few people from other states. One of them in particular, she's actually one of my largest leads right now. She was actually the assistant to the CEO that I was underneath, and her and I were just kind of sidelines. We always call each other and complain, and feel miserable together. And so her and I were always close. And the day that I said, you know what, Lysandra, I wish you well, I'm moving on, she says, I'm coming with you. And so I didn't try to bring her with me. She's just like, man, I know whatever you're doing, if it's better than this, then, it must be, right? And so she came over, and it's kind of been a snowball effect ever since then. And, that was a good start. But of course, we can't rely on that only. And so we continue to use that. I knew that we had to prove it here because there was a lot of people watching us. I'm not saying we were a big deal at the last company, but we were well known. People knew who we were. We were there for 6 years. And so I knew there was a lot of people, especially on social media, watching everything we did. And so I knew that if we time this right, if we really blow this up our first month and continue to do so, then people are going to follow us, because that's what we wanted to do. That was my goal in the beginning, was to rescue other struggling agents that were like me, that were so sick and tired of selling a dream and living a nightmare, knew that they were capable of more, but just wasn't getting the results they wanted. And sure enough, that's what we've been proven to do. And now we're hiring people from ZipRecruiter and different hiring ads that have no background in insurance. I got one guy in Seattle that was in timeshare, and my very first ZipRecruiter ad I paid like $400 for. I found this guy, and he's already a sales manager, soon to be senior sales manager. And his first month, he did 30,000. I don't think he's had a month without doing 30,000 plus. And that's all from ZipRecruiter, right? And what we're doing now is just sharing our results. Like, hey, this is the kind of money we're making. This is how many applications that we're writing every week, and we're just leading by example and showing that to everybody that we hire. And so to kind of answer your question there, what are we continuously doing? I'd say we're being very present on social media. I post several times a day. And lately, I've probably gotten 10 licensed agents in the last month or two, just from people reaching out to me, like, hey man, I've been watching for a while, want to get going, or they knew me from previously, now they're finally reaching back out. So that's great, but we're also not relying on that and throwing a lot of money into marketing. I remember when I first came here, Matt said, "What's your marketing budget?" Like, what do you mean? I was like, "Yeah, what are you spending every month on marketing?" I'm like, I don't know, $50. I didn't have a budget. I didn't know what that was, because last company, how you found your business partners is you recruited them, right? And so here, you mean I can call people, offer them high comp, great training? Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm all about ZipRecruiter. I think we have a pretty good system down pat now. And it's just a system, man. It's a numbers game like anything else. But I know that the more money we throw at it, the better it is. And right now, we're all in a fight for our lives. Remember, this is a temporary sacrifice for a permanent gain. Yeah, we're working 6-7 days a week, but it's not going to be like that forever, right? And so, it feels good to have 100 grand in the bank, right? I've never had that before. But at the same time, I know that it's not going to grow my business. And so now our budget for marketing is, I think almost $5,000. And we want to continue to raise that bar, because, to compete with America and everybody else, they're obviously doing more than that. And so we're constantly just trying to continue to find the edge and do whatever we can to bring more bodies on.
Okay. So yeah, I like that because, you know, I had the same thing. The place that I came from, it was the same thing. You know, I was trying to recruit people and knew I was bringing them to a death trap. So once it got to that point, I was done.
Yeah.
So let me ask this, because there's a lot of new people on here.
Sure.
If I'm new to the business and I tell you I want to build a team like you, do you have any requirements for your people that they need to do X before they do Y, or do you encourage them right off the bat, right out of the gate, to start recruiting? Because I made the mistake at my old company and I didn't recruit for a long time, and I should have been buying recruits instead of bottles of whiskey back in the day.
Yeah.
So, you know, what advice do you give a new agent that comes in and says, hey, Marcus, I want to grow a team too. What do I need to do?
Perfect. Well, I would say that my saying goes, produce to pay the bills, hire to retire. I don't want to work the rest of my life. I want to build a business. And so you have two options here. You can be a producer, make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, no problem. But you can also build an agency, build a business that generates you hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, and you don't have to worry about working the rest of your life, right? And so I'm huge on getting people going right away with building. And so I've done as far, and you guys might want to write this down. It's called tap rooting, and that's TAPROOTING. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but basically that's where you take your new hire and talk to them to get them fired up, show them your results, in other words, sell them the dream. And then you want to find out, who's your top three best people that you think would do really good in this business. And if they're on fire, excited, like I was in the beginning, they're going to give me 5, 10, 15, 20 people. And now I'm going to call them for them and say, hey, you know what, listen, Billy is working with us here. He had a lot of great things to say about you. I can't promise you anything, but I think it might make sense for us to sit down and talk a little bit more and see if it's a good fit. And so right there, you're tap rooting that new recruit. And so I have a lot of people that just got licensed, but they have like 5 people in the hopper about ready to get their license, right? Because we weren't going to wait until they're going to get everybody else going, right? So if I find a psycho that wants to get going like me, then I'm going to tap the hell out of them and keep going down that leg and do the same thing for their new hires, right? So I'm a huge believer in, you got to hire from the beginning. As soon as you're contracted, you should be putting people into contracting.
So I love that, man. And to be honest with you, if people didn't write that down, I have this recorded, but I can promise you from this day forward, my ass will be tap rooting because I did a little bit of it, but I've tap rooted a little bit, but not to that degree. And what I like about that is the side effect of that. What happens is, and you probably know this from your last company, if you have somebody that's in your business and they have somebody else that's in this business, the retention on that person is so much better and they move at a different speed. And what happens when you put 2 guys like me and you together? I want to beat you. So then you have competition. So you might bring in somebody, you might not be the best recruiter, you might not be the best salesperson, whatever. But you know what? One of your friends might be the next Gage. They might be the next Marcus. And guess what? You win. Everybody wins. So, if you didn't hear that, guys and gals, listen to it again. Because if you're on our team, you're probably going to hear it again. I love that, man. So, I feel like I need to cash app you because you just made me a lot of money. So tell me about when you have a new agent that's about to hit the ground running. Tell me 3 things that you want to make sure that they're on point with prior to hitting their first appointment.
Beautiful. Yes, that's very important. So I first and foremost wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for my significant other, Victoria. She's like I said, we've been in business together from the very beginning for over 7 years now. We just got engaged last year, but she is the reason why, one of the reasons why we're doing so well is because she trains every person on our team, whether they're direct to us or not, on a phone orientation where she literally spends an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours with people on a one-on-one
Oh,
basis and
bless her
just,
heart.
yeah, right. I know. And she, goes through objections, she goes through scripting, she goes through different lead types. And so we kind of give them a crash course with that. We call it phone orientation. And then we also I personally host an in-home training where I show them exactly what I'm doing from the minute I walk in the home to the minute I leave and I grab a selfie with them. I'm showing them what I say, what I do, what forms I use, because you got to keep it simple, right? It's paint by the numbers. You do it like this, you're going to get this results. If you do it your own way, good luck. I don't know what kind of results you're going to get. And so that's something that I always make sure people know in the beginning, like you're not buying leads or anything like that until you go through these classes, and most people have no problem with that at all. I also encourage people to write warm market business if they have it. If their lead budget's tight, then try to do a policy upgrade or anything like that. And that's a really good way for new agents to get enough capital that they can invest into this business.
So when you have that new agent and they go out and they come in broke, let's be honest, a lot of people that get into this business, they're not sitting on bankrolls.
Right.
So when they spend that first $400, it hurts.
Yeah.
But what do you advise to them when they go out and they write 2,500? What do you tell them that they need to do with that first 2,500, knowing that they have rent, bills, etc., but also knowing if they don't have any more hot dogs to put in the hot dog stand, they're not going to make any more money. So what do you tell your guys or gals what they need to reinvest based on their business model, your business, what you've seen that has worked for you and your people?
Yeah, it's a good question. So our MO is always act like it's not yours, right? That's not your money. That's a business loan, right? Until you have 20 G's in your account, don't worry about buying anything frivolous. Yeah, pay the minimum on your bills, but I'd say throw everything back into your leads, at least in the beginning. For us, we were negative bank account. I had to open up a credit card to come here. And that was hard for me, right? But we ended up doing it. And even though I wanted to pay off my credit cards, I didn't touch it until I at least had, I think, 25 grand in my bank account. And I said, okay, now I can pay off my cards. And now I'm never going to worry about money ever again for the rest of my life.
Gotcha. That's one of the things that I've noticed. And I don't think people understand this that haven't been in the business very long. But I was talking to one of my top team builders today. And one of the things that I mentioned to him, because he's getting ready to have a baby and he's a part-timer, but he's going to get 3 months off from the government. And he said, Billy, what should I do? And I said, look, spend 10% of your time, 10% of your time selling policies and 90% developing a bulletproof recruiting system. And I said, because that's going to carry you for the rest of your life. And I was telling him a little bit about, once this thing gets going, it doesn't stop, and I know you've seen it, but I don't think that people that are new to the business understand the opportunity that Family First Life. I have 5 people coming on my team daily, and I don't even know where they're coming from anymore, because once it gets moving, it's like a train. It just doesn't stop, and it won't stop. Like as long as you're developing people, as long as people are making money, and we all know that not everybody's going to survive this business. But what I've noticed with FFL is that if people go to work, they survive. Because I had the same issue where you talked about, my people were low comp, overrides were through the roof. So the guy in the parking lot with the name, he had the Maserati, but the poor guy down here had bald tires and no money in his bank account.
Yep.
With FFL, it just goes. And once you get that momentum, it all just steamrolls. Like, you know, the accelerant is the weekly numbers. Like that fuels the business. And once it goes for the next, I don't know, you're 31, you'll be 61 and it'll still be going. You might not be, but it will be.
Right.
And that's the beautiful thing about this business. No other business that I know of can you do that. And, you know, I'm older than you. And for me, I look at it as this thing continues to grow and I watch my guys and gals build their businesses. I'm just thinking about my kids. One day they're going to have this. And it's really generational wealth, because guess who owns FFL Evolve? Not me. I don't own it. Right. That's the beautiful thing about this business. Forever, it's yours.
Right.
And you know, the company I was with, most companies, you don't own anything. When you leave, it's gone. So, you know, I think that, you know, I could sit here and I don't know if Gage wants you to do in-house presentations and all that, but I really wanted to utilize you because I know you came from another company and I know the company you came from. And I really think that a lot of people focus so much on production that they lose sight of the big picture. And for me, I've always been one that likes to bring somebody in and paint the big picture with the stipulation. The big picture goes a lot faster if you're producing, unless
Right.
you have money in the bank.
Right.
But anybody can sell insurance, but building a business to a lot of people is scary until they get it. Like the tap rooting, I promise you, you just made the team a whole lot of money. And I say that, and that's the beauty of this business, is that we're able to feed off of each other. And I've been in this business 6 years and I've never heard that term. I've done some of it on social media where I'll find a sharp person on social media and I say, hey, I'll DM their friends and sharp looking friends and say, hey, my company's got a problem. We're looking for people. And you tap root like that. But I've never actually had a conversation with a new agent and said, this is what we need to do. And then called his recruits unless he came to me. So that right there, I promise you, is going to make a huge difference. So with that, I want to thank you for coming on, and I'm going to turn it over to Gage because Gage might have more questions, but I'm just ready to tap root, bro. Like,
All right,
that's
Joe.
it. So,
Yeah.
but I'm going to turn it over to Gage, and, you know, I appreciate your time and I appreciate you sharing that with us, because you know how you said you're always gunning for Americas and stuff? You just hurt yourself. No, I love it, man. Go ahead, Gage.
No, I appreciate that, Marcus. And that's what I really wanted to give perspective on for the team, is the opportunity that we have here. So to give you guys perspective, Marcus's biggest year at his old company was 55,000. My first year with Family First Life was 342,000 in issue pay. And I deposited about 290,000. So that's the whole point of us bringing Marcus on here, was to show you guys a guy who's seen the dream 6 years ago and didn't give up. And the biggest takeaway that I got from you, Marcus, is that you said consistency. It was producing, it was sharing, and leading by example. And that's exactly the recipe that I have done for the last 20 months, was learn how to sell, do it consistently, whether it was a bad week, a good week, it was uncomfortable to spend more money on leads, but it was consistently producing. And then it was sharing what I was doing. And it took me 12 months of posting on social media before anyone would give me the time of day, because they didn't know what the hell the numbers meant. They didn't know what this was, or MLM is what they all think it is, right? But when you consistently post, it has to be real. Someone wouldn't believe in something if they're going to repetitively share the opportunity. So I appreciate you hopping on, Marcus. It really does mean a lot, man. Like you said, law of attraction. Met Marcus at convention. We've been chopping it up here and there, going back and forth. And that's the cool part, is Marcus is on the opposite side of FFL, but we can still help each other accomplish our goals. So I appreciate it, dude. Means a lot. Can't wait to get back to your team. And let's all keep crushing it. We're having a great month, and we'll see you guys in Slack. Appreciate you, Marcus.
Thanks, guys. Good night, guys. Bye-bye.